Hey everybody, how's it going? This is me kicking it off with a hello. I hope you guys are doing well. This is a bit of an impromptu live. We just wanted to sort of talk about. We've got a busy month coming up with World Pool Championships and actually sending our first team out, which is super exciting.
Yes.
And we sort of wanted to do a little bit of reflecting on our last 2 years and change of running the league and sort of just I don't know.
Just make it personal for a second.
Yeah, make it a little
I think
personal.
we get so tied up in like the daily to-dos and as kind of budding entrepreneurs, like figure out how to balance out how to fill the funnel with prospective new players and how to manage and maintain the value that our current players are experiencing, as well as just like the administrative responsibilities, and then compound that with going back to work full time to ensure our mouths get fed and balancing our time with our kids and even trying to make time for ourselves. I don't even know what that looks like anymore. We kind of just get lost in all of the to-dos that we forget like how we actually got to where we're at today. So we kind of came up with a random selection of questions. Thanks, Google. Anyway, we're just kind of doing like an impromptu interview tonight with each other. These are some things that I think we have some really awesome midnight mattress like discussions together as a couple. But just to be able to kind of welcome you into our space and just kind of hear a little bit from our perspective, where we've been, how we got here, how we're feeling about stuff. And hell, if we hate this recording after it, we'll just delete it.
Yeah, how lucky you're catching it.
So anyway, first round of questions kind of talks about like origin and motivation. First one being, what made you want to start an APA franchise in the first place? Was there a moment or conversation that triggered it?
I mean, I feel like we've sort of told a lot of people our origin story. And I think it sort of started even a little bit pre-pandemic. At least for me. I was, at that point, I'd been working in IT for, 9 years. Something like 10, that. And just getting a little burned out on it. And, just feeling like it was the same thing day after day, sort of just just on spin cycle all the time. And so, once the pandemic rolled through, I got to get a little bit of freedom, a little bit of experience with just like having a more loose structured work environment and still had the hours to deal with, but had, the ability to work remotely, work independently, and not have feel like somebody's staring over my shoulder. And so I guess having that longing to do something for ourselves was sort of born out of that, And so, initially we had thoughts of like, doing the brick and mortar bar and the pool hall and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I think that was kind of the same sentiment for both of us. Is like, man, I don't want to say jumped from, that sounds like atrocious, but, just really explored a couple of different industries in my career path, starting with funeral directing and mortuary science, a job that I was very passionate about and loved. But I think the timing was just off more than anything, as kind of a beginning professional in my mid-20s, trying to get married, raise a young family, those kinds of things. The emotional weight of some of the work that I was doing added some stress, although it wasn't so much, right? But then like the rotation, the every other weekend, a lot of evenings and nights on call. I worked for a great firm, but it was still very taxing, I think, on our family as a whole. And then when the stress and the, inter-office conflict kind of came to a head, getting that permission from a partner to be able to like jump ship and go explore other options. So, experimenting in things like the insurance industry, computer sciences, even environmental sciences for a minute, and doing some traveling with that. But like having this moment, I think that was kind of a turning point for me, or like the universe kind of pointing us on this trajectory. It was when the engine in the Traverse died.
Yep.
So, what year was that? 2016? 17?
Bought the car. What year was it? 20.
Well, we had it when we married in 2013.
Was it 2007? Trying to remember.
Yeah.
What year.
Anyway, so like between 2016 and 2017, it was like 107,000 miles on the stinking car.
Yeah. And
the engine took a shitter. It was like a known problem with the timing chain, like an engineering issue. There's special warranty and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what happened with that is, it's $7,000 to repair, and we still had like a minor car note on it to finish paying it off.
Right.
And we were just not in a place where we could just like dump that vehicle and start over with new car payments. Like we were just kind of where we were at.
Yeah.
But that started me working a second job while working insurance at Side Pockets in Blue Springs.
Yeah.
Which really kind of introduced us to APA and some of the pool community that existed in Kansas City. So I would say even a lot of that stuff kind of went all the way back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really kind of painted a really good picture for what a community established could look like, what a good metaphorical third space looks like in a community like Blue Springs. That was a place people went to that wasn't work, it wasn't home, it was their home away from home.
Right.
It was their family by choice, not by blood. Those people really did a lot for each other. I mean, I even watched some of the players that were doing Toys for Tots drives, that were doing other fundraisers, that were inviting their friends and their community members to come and try a new hobby and really kind of grow the community that they had. I watched people date each other, get married, start having babies, grow families of their own. So that was just something I really kind of admired out of all of that. Yeah. And I was humbled and honored, I think, when I was asked to join a pool league or pool team for the first time. I think it was like Justin Nichols and like Nate Kane. Mm-hmm. And they were like, I was working, like slinging drinks, just trying to hustle and like pay off a $7,000, debt note.
Right.
And they're like, hey, you want to come play? And I was like, well, I don't get a lot of time to myself now, and it's like full-time at one job and part-time at another. Right. And I think I said something along the lines of, I'm really not very good, and I haven't played in years. And they were like, that's perfect. We need someone who sucks. I was like, thanks, assholes. Like, I didn't even know how to take that. But they were so eager to, like, accept me, and I think that just really set such a positive precedence that no matter that I carry with us now, no matter how inexperienced, humbled, there was a place for me there, and there were people willing to teach me as long as I was open-minded and a good sport about it.
Yeah.
So that's where that was. Well, let's get back to the question. The conversation that triggered it. Okay, so yeah, we're kind of drying up over many years, working for the man, making everybody else rich, and just like kind of only ever skating by. And yeah, pre-COVID, like you said, it was this, why aren't we doing this for ourselves?
Yeah.
Why aren't we trying to find some sort of business or job or something?
Well,
and we had tons of conversations about like, what would that look like? Is it a restaurant? Is it a service? Is it a this? Is it a that? I think we even dabbled in a couple things, like we started concepts of like, you would go hang like tech stuff for like old people in their house because like that's something you could do is already what you're doing, and it's you could do it outside of the hours you're already working. Right. And a lot of different options in between, but yeah, just getting some inspiration from the people within that pool community that we admired. Bill Fickle owning Side Pockets in Blue Springs. We sat him down. Was that pre-COVID? I feel. Or was that like after COVID?
No, the whole reason we were able to do the APA franchise in the first place, unfortunately, is because my father passed away.
Well, even before that, so like we looked at trying to even transition into the Indianapolis area.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. For your roofing job.
Correct. Yeah. And so we were trying to find like a brick and mortar. We had sat down. I feel like it was the November of COVID, or maybe. The 2021 maybe. No, it was 2020.
All I know is you worked intimately with him looking at books and stuff like
and it was like, hey Bill, we just want an opportunity to be like mentored into, if this is something that we do it right. We know what we're getting into. I engaged with like some business brokers. I talked to a couple of commercial lenders, looked at some of our retirement, some equity that we had in our house, and really kind of figured out, I don't know, probably within about a good 6-7 months, that like the risk of going into the food and beverage service industry was like really high, and especially kind of coming out of COVID and going into whatever the hell the future looked at that time.
Right.
So it was kind of a natural pivot to say like, well, what is the stepping stone that goes from where we are now into maybe in the future having a billiard hall or a pool hall where we can create that sense of community and be cohesive to that community. And I think it was all along the conversations we had been having with community members there in Kansas City that says, what do you do? Why do you do this? What do you love about this? Why do you stay up till 2:00 every morning slinging chicken wings and beer and, whatever. Talking to John Hensley, who's the league operator out in that Jackson County, Kansas City area, what made him start things, what kept him going, what kept him motivated, why this franchise and not any other franchise. So it was kind of a natural pivot to say, okay, with a lower cost of entry into this particular type of franchise, we could utilize this and within a 10-year, 15-year journey, use the equity that we can build in a franchise like this into a brick and mortar like billiard hall, pool hall.
Sure. Yeah.
And we were like getting ready to move our family. We were prettying up our house. We hired a guy to drop a 130-foot tree on our house.
Yep.
We were, looking at whatever retirement we had left, what equity we can get out of the property once we sell it, and what neighborhood we wanted to get into. And then it was kind of like, unfortunately, amongst those plans and like pulling the trigger and like all systems go after many months of research and planning and preparing. This is early 22, so now we're kind of a couple years into these dreams, these thoughts, and getting there. Your dad passed, and it just kind of felt like the world crushed down around us.
Yeah. I mean, it was, it was a dark time, but I think a lot of, positive aspects came from that time. I mean, mainly just my dad being able to leave something behind for us to be able to sort of push us off in the direction that we were wanting to go in the first place. Yeah. And especially with us being millennials and just the economy, it's super hard to save money. And it's hard.
Generation of perpetual paycheck to paycheck people.
That's it. Yeah. And so having that little push to get us sort of started was I guess a blessing in disguise. But obviously still conflicted about how I feel about that.
Yeah, right? And I think we would give it all up in a heartbeat if we could have him back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there was a genie that popped out of a bottle and they're like, what's one thing you would give up? Everything for him to come back, period.
Exactly.
But, so I guess if there was a moment or conversation that triggered it, I think it was just like this culmination of moments.
Yeah.
First it was the car dying and then getting into side pockets, being influenced by people in a pool community, being influenced by business owners, one that ran a billiard hall and another that ran a pool community with APA.
Yeah.
And really just kind of being influential and setting those examples to be like, we can do this too. It's like, it's feasible.
Yeah.
So the next question really is, what was your relationship with the game of pool before becoming a league operator? I kind of talked a little bit about how I got into it. Of course, once people saw how coachable and teachable and a lower handicap to balance out rosters I was being asked left and right. I think I got to the point where it was 2 or 3 nights a week, and then I kind of had to bring it back down again. I was playing in locations in North Kansas City, as well as kind of in our hometown there.
Yeah.
And then there was one summer where Bill, who again owns Side Pockets, had to fill a bye. And again, this is an odd number of teams during a session. So the host location is filling in a gap, so you don't have a perpetual rotation of somebody being off that week, right? You want to make sure everybody plays every week, everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, I'm just filling a bye. I'll pay for quarters. I'll pay for drinks, whatever it takes. Just come have fun. Will you do it? So I kind of knocked off most of my other teams. Okay, let's just do the fill a bye. I asked my friend Buford, and I kind of volunteered him to be like, you're just going to come and help fill this roster.
Yeah.
So yeah, like tell us a little bit about what that experience was, like the first time being asked to come and play in league.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's start at growing up. Like, if I went over to a friend's house and they had a pool table, like, they were living the dream.
Right.
Like, they had an intercom system in their house or something. You know, like, they were flying high. They were doing well for
They didn't just yell down
themselves.
the stairs.
Right.
They pressed a button to yell at you.
Yeah. So it was always sort of one of those things that felt like, I don't know, like, I never really thought of, like, pool leagues as being just, like, a hobby, right? It was always just, like, I don't know. It was like one of those things that you have that collects dust, you know, and
becomes everybody's laundry table after
right,
a while.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm an introvert, right? And so it's usually my standard is like, come home, stay home, nest, right? Be here, get on the comfortable clothes, right? But I also recognize that as a person, you gotta get that people connection every once in a while. And so when Stephanie was like, hey, you know, there's this bye we need to fill. They need just a summer roster spot. I said, okay, I'll give you the summer. Fully expecting, okay, this is going to be 3 months, and then they'll find somebody else who's better, and then they'll kick me off the team, and I will have had hopefully an okay time. And I jumped in, and of course, like, I already knew a lot of the people going in just from proximity of you working at Side Pockets, and you know, we'd gone to people's houses and hung out and all that stuff. And so it was easy for me to come in because I already had a group of friends that were there to sort of help me along. I do sort of wonder for like the new people who join our leagues, if there's some trepidation there because they don't have that group that I had.
Yeah. Okay. So pause. Let me ask. As an introvert, when you know your social battery is kind of getting tested and taxed in a new social group, if you did not have friends there, would you have fully committed to going onto that team, or would you have been like, hell no?
I think it would have just taken longer, right? It would have taken longer to find my place in that community. I feel like, you know, when you're comfortable, you can find your place easier than if you are so worried about yourself and like, how am I coming across, or like whatever, you're so focused on the moment to moment that you can't just live in that moment.
If there's a piece of advice that you would give to any introverted like personalities
who's joining in
or is considering it, what would you say?
I mean, I would say just take the jump, right? It's
what's the worst can happen? You try it for a couple weeks and you can fail. Like...
Well, and granted, I don't have social anxiety and stuff like that. It's just I'm just a typical introvert, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there are levels to it, right? But if you're typically your go-to is come home and couch rot and whatever, maybe it's time to switch it up, right? Maybe it's time to try the new thing or try a new thing or meet some new people. And we've got a great core group of people that are helping to create those good times and
kind of make a safe place for people who don't know how to ingrain themselves socially.
Right.
You know?
And I think we're getting to the point too with the age of our league. Granted, we're still very young as far as leagues go, but it's starting to mature with the people know each other, right? And so there's not that weird awkwardness that happens where it's like, how are you going to be when I play you?
Hey, my name is Steve. You want to share my sandbox shovel?
Right. These people have been playing each other for a year, 2 years,
you're just gonna get to know each other.
Right.
Well, and I wonder too for like, because I'm definitely an extrovert. Like I go out and I get social and it just like jazzes me up and I'm riding high for a couple of days. Where like I know for you, I can see it like the moment you sneak off into the corner and suddenly something on your phone's way more interesting than what's happening in the room. I'm like, oh, that's it. We gotta go. Pack up the guy. It's okay. Yeah. I got you. We can go home now. But I mean, I guess not without my moments too, where I'm just like,
Oh, sure.
okay, I'm gassed. I've had enough of this. I gotta come.
Oh,
to
sure.
quits, but,
Well, everybody's got their limits,
Yeah.
right?
but I think for me too, even like I say, reflecting back on that initial invitation, it was like, I'm in these same four walls, serving, supporting this business, supporting these players, supporting this community in a tangent way. But now it's my turn to be in the seat, right? Now it's my turn to instead of like pouring from the cup into other people so that they can kind of be prepared for the rest of their outpouring in the world.
Yeah.
Now I get a portion of that in my cup, and I can kind of pour from my saucer into someone else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was different, and I think even at first it kind of felt a little foreign, like out of place, like. I don't know, probably compensated by like, what can I get everybody to drink and do, and like kind of go into server mode. But it was just like it was kind of hard when I felt uncomfortable. Like, still same place, same me, same four walls, same people. But how do I make that drastic change? How do I switch the modes? You know what I mean? So, yeah, relationship with the game of pool before becoming a league operator. I think just like very tangentially supporting and very much from our experience recognizing. Not only how much does it build a community, a third space for people that is kind of dying in today's age. Let's talk about it. Yeah. But supporting the local small business in ways that I think people don't really recognize or kind of take for granted in some pockets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's being able to kind of get a sense of, you know, how that fills our cup up, becoming a date night for us as a couple. Being able to reconnect beyond just the everyday to-dos and being like, we're just here to have fun and relax and be supported by other people and be recognized as a couple instead of like, oh, that's Stephanie's husband or that's Zach's wife. You know, it's Zach and Stephanie. We're the Daresome duo, you know, coming in to have fun and elevating the comedic routine of the night. I don't know. So yeah, it was a very interesting relationship, but again, kind of the keystone of what inspired us to be like, when we're lost, aspiring to be able to be self-sufficient, self-supporting, and creating our own future, but with no vision of what that looks like, to just kind of sit back and realize we're in that vision. We're living it every day. Yeah. We want to create something that can be a community of inclusivity, of... You know, just humbleness, I guess, is another good aspect of that I really liked. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the experience before becoming a league operator, was just living it and wanting to provide that somewhere else. So,
yeah.
Ironically, third question. If so, what did you admire or want to improve about it?
I was not familiar with APA, but then again, I wasn't familiar with pool leagues at all, right? I had no concept of what a pool league looked like. You know, I'd heard about bowling leagues and stuff, but even that was like a foreign concept for me too, but because I'd never participated in any of that stuff. So I definitely didn't know about APA, and I still don't think I knew the full gravity of what APA was until we went to Vegas last year.
Oh, that's
like, I mean, it was a long bit of time for me to learn about like everything about the APA and actually experiencing a lot of it. Sort of opened my eyes as well. But yeah, I had a non-existent relationship with pool and pool leagues. So,
I think, okay, so when it talks about the question, what do you admire and want to improve about it? I think initially there wasn't a lot I wanted to improve about, like, the format, the community that was inspired out of it that I experienced in Kansas City and things like that. The admiration is things I already touched on. Again, it's the people. People is really what makes it. And if you have core groups of people that can really cultivate the culture that we aspire to have out here, it really just kind of makes all the difference. So that was the admiration that, again, really inspired me. It was the players out there The people bringing in balloons and birthday cakes and celebrating birthdays on league night. It was the people who were congratulated for their engagements, and the little babies that started off as cute little bumps and turned into screaming pool bar brats. That is sometimes annoying, but also so endearing, and just realizing that was sprouted from our community here.
Yeah.
So those are the things again I admired. But okay, question number 4. What did the startup process look like for you from applying to get approved to actually launching?
I mean, I feel like it was sort of a whirlwind, right? Like it went pretty quick.
It did and it didn't.
Well, there was a lot of time just obviously doing our due diligence and figuring out if it was something we actually want to do. But once we were like, hey, give us contact for APA, and we found that Milwaukee was an option. It was like, boom, boom, let's get the interview. Boom, you're accepted. You know, and then
talking to recruiters like Ryan and Kevin were intimidating.
Yeah.
But they were also really good. I will give them credit to painting a really good picture about hey, here's some of the trepidatious things that you may be experiencing right out the gate.
Sure.
And I think that really just kind of comes from many decades of experience for APA as a whole. Again, through many generations of national support and administrative support, is they've probably watched a lot of pool players that are like, I could do what my league operator does, and come in and just probably shit the bed.
Yeah. Well,
so they're gonna tell you almost try to convince you not to do it.
Yeah.
Before they're like, okay, sure, we'll give you a chance.
Yeah. Well, I think it helps too that it's we didn't consider ourselves pool sharks. We were just looking for something to fill our cup, to create new opportunities for us. So I think we approached it in a different way than a lot of other players, or a lot of maybe other league operators have come into a league operator position.
Well, here's what I'm going to give credit, because I'm a researcher through and through. My experience back at the funeral home doing that market research project with the firm owner, I think really kind of provided me the experience I needed to understand what does a business development or business plan market research project really need to start off with, right?
Yeah.
Looking at demographics, finding the resources you need to pull up censuses and population densities and average household incomes, competitive brands that are direct competitors. Is there any other sanctioned league in that area that is a pool league? Also, competition with what other entertainment are people willing to spend their money on instead of APA? What kind of customer is good for your market, and those kinds of things. So knowing that we were obviously not going to be able to do anything in Kansas City because nobody was selling their area soon, and also with the goal in mind of kind of trying to get back to home base, him being the oldest of 3, me being an only child, knowing that in the coming years there's going to be aging parents, and there's going to be all sorts of home support. And as great as it was to spend almost 13 years away from them, kind of creating our adulthood, raising up our kids, we knew that we were going to have to kind of come back to that and be responsible to some of that in whatever way, whatever capacity in our future.
Whatever that looked like.
So looking at Indianapolis as a market, Southern Indiana, Chicagoland, the lower mitten of Michigan, and then of course Wisconsin being recommended to us by the recruiters as an undeveloped market, and then really comparing and contrasting what does taking there's a league operator in Indianapolis, I think at the time had 5 counties. Love that for them. That's a great market. So one of the options was okay, do we do kind of a market research project and then go to that person cold and be like, hey, we want to take over a certain part of your area and help you grow it. You would pay royalties to that person and then also to national office. Or do we want to start from scratch and start over a whole league area? And then again, kind of looking at demographics at the Southeast Wisconsin corridor, knowing that we had a great league area just to the south of Milwaukee, Waukesha area in Kenosha Racine that was in development. It gained some traction. It was doing great. and we can kind of help take that line all the way up to the northern borders of Wisconsin was pretty appealing. So, being able to bid for that and draft all those plans and then make the commitment. I think the one scary part, as if there wasn't already so many, first scary part, getting a house or a tree dropped on our house. Like, what the hell is this? The bad omen that we need to just maybe not be doing this.
Yeah.
And then within days, your dad passing away, just kind of felt like
it's like a week
whammy,
after
whammy, whammy.
Right.
And so then we have this breathing space. Like, it's months later. We're getting to the point where we're getting this traction. We've got a rental spot after many weeks and many months of kind of, I don't want to say getting denied, but passed over because renters were in high demand right there.
Right.
A lot of people were wanting to rent and get into a place before their kiddos get into school in August and September.
Right.
So we were just one of the many people looking for a home and bum rushing landlords. So you can imagine if you're a landlord in Wisconsin and you have 20 applicants that are all within your county and one asshole from Kansas City, Missouri who is starting a business and doesn't exactly have a salary, but hey, we have savings. I hope that accounts for something. But yeah, we finally got the place and, we're the moving box is literally coming and then national office coming to us and being we suddenly have some doubts. That was the moment where I think I almost stroked out.
Yeah, because we literally...
we're moving.
Our house is on the market.
Practically sold already.
Yeah.
And our kids are getting enrolled in school, and there's a truck coming with all of my junk in a minute. And what do you mean you have some doubts? So, again, talking about a continual support from our pool community back in Kansas City, coming up with reference letters and referrals and all sorts of stuff to be hey, despite your doubts, this community believes in them.
Right.
So this is why you should too.
Right.
Spoke volumes and obviously moved the mountains that needed to in order for national to be all right, we'll take the risk.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. So.
Well, and I think going back, a big reason for us landing in Milwaukee where we did too was, we could try to build on something that somebody else already created, but we could also just sort of bet on ourselves.
Right. Well, and the other con from that example was, do we want to pick up someone else's problems to try to fix them?
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we'll just create a lot of our own problems. That's what I said. All of the problems for us. Let's just start those from scratch. So, startup process from applying to getting approved, actually launching. Yeah, then we were here now. He finished up his work contract, closed the house. I've got the kids here. We finally kind of meet back up, and we're what the fuck is a Milwaukee? And just went and start hitting the pavement. I mean, it was just night after night, week after week.
Yeah.
We kind of started in Cudahy. That was a great little community, lots of blue collar, great demographic for what targeted customer we would want.
Still need to develop up Cudahy. I know there's a lot of opportunity out there, but
one segment at a time. But yeah, I mean, it literally was just hey, let's get a tablecloth this week, and we'll just put it on a table and have flyers and smile big and start conversations to let's play more pool on more tables to, finally getting one of the bigger billiard halls in the area to commit to letting us have a couple of nights a week there. And just kind of slowly growing. A lot of Facebook, a lot of referrals, a lot of just people willing to take a chance on us. And it started really small for probably a lot longer than I wanted it to.
Yeah, I would say emphasis on the slow part, right? Because it was, we came from, like she said, we came from Kansas City, where they have 300 plus teams in their APA. Yeah. They've got league going every night of the week, basically, and multiple divisions on certain nights and stuff like that. So it's we're used to a developed APA community. Yeah. Milwaukee has not had APA ever. And so Jackson County's 30 years, something like that it's been going in Kansas City. Yeah. So it's we're 30 years behind.
Yeah.
I don't think we had that foresight where it was we're jumping into a brand new thing. People aren't going to know what the hell this thing is. We know how great it is. We know the benefits of it.
We can convince them really fast.
Right. They're going to listen to us.
Yeah.
And then, just people who were there for the quarters, right?
Yeah.
To play a game of bar pool and
I think
maybe take a card but have no real
interest
in it at all.
I think that kind of leads into the next question is, what were some of the biggest unexpected challenges of your first year?
Yeah.
Nobody had a single flying clue what the heck an APA was.
Yeah. Well, it's, there's the Kenosha Racing, southeast Wisconsin. They're doing great, but APA communities are tight.
Yeah.
And they hang together and
Yeah.
they stick together. So there's not a whole lot of people like migrating out of that area. They all know what's there. Or
they're playing with their people.
They're playing
sanctuary.
They're playing with their people, and also things like they're already qualifying people out to Las Vegas.
Right.
And we're this brand new group that
Really
we have to
doesn't
get 20 teams.
anything.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to get 20 teams to even be able to send anybody in the first place. And so we haven't reached that goal yet. And so people are less prone to leaving the comfortable thing they know to join in to maybe something that's closer.
And very uncertain.
Yeah.
So, even when they did know what APA was.
Right.
I think another unexpected challenge in our first year was, of the existing pool community that was here, we did not fit their molds.
Yeah.
We were a collaborative, inclusive, team-based environment that was very welcoming to beginners and new hobbyists.
Right.
And what they wanted out of the local dusty pool halls was, I want to be the best of the best. I don't want any new competition in the room because that means I would have to work harder at maintaining my crown. And
you got to get better at something?
Right. And what do you mean the rules are different? Screw your rules. Your rules suck. I'm like, they're really not that much different than what you're playing
Really
currently. Yeah, so that was kind of a big challenge. And I think still to this day, like those are not our people, really.
Yeah, and I think that's something we've learned, right? Is like, where to put our energies.
Right. And I think we've gleaned a handful of really good players out of that community.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That once we've kind of spun the narrative, I don't want to say spun, highlighted the narrative of, with your existing experience in the Milwaukee pool community pre-APA, you have so much to offer. You have so much to give. Even if you've peaked in your hobbyist career as a pool player, the next generation is ready and waiting to play, and you can be that beacon of light that helps teach them those fundamentals, that helps give them the confidence, that helps give them that space to fuck it up a little bit and be okay with messing up their first few times, and still feel competitive and a part of something. You can contribute to that with your years of experience. So maybe it isn't no longer about, like, you've passed this crescendo of, I'm the best pool player in the room. Now it's, how do I plant my legacy? Mm-hmm. How do I plant that flag in my legacy and pass it off to the next generation?
Yeah.
So I think once we really kind of gave people like that the opportunity to be like, this is your shot to pass that off, to feed that next generation.
Yeah.
You see people kind of lean into that and puff their chest. They're like, hell yeah, I got a lot to offer. You know, I'm no longer washed up. I am the mentor. I am the coach, So I think that's been, a challenge at first, but now that we've kind of made a turning point in that, it's made a huge difference in our narrative and our story.
It's incredible, right? Like, people who are just so against something at the beginning.
Right.
Can have a 180-degree turn like that just by trying.
Yes.
Right? Just by trying it.
Yes.
So.
Okay, skills and backgrounds. What part... I lost my spot. What parts of your previous careers, funeral directing, customer service, IT, etc., helped you most in becoming a league operator? I think I touched on a couple of these. Is there anything from IT that you feel like, or like just in your years as a professional, kind of helped you?
I I feel like it's sort of like a doctor, right? It's like bedside manner, sort of
Yeah.
like, you go talk to a person, like you sort of you can have those little, even if it's not deep, right?
Right.
You can jump in and have those check-in moments or whatever. And I'm still working on that. And
Right.
I'm still a work in progress, and it's going to take a long time for me to get anywhere near where I know I can be. But I feel like if I was going to pick something from IT, because Pool League and IT really don't have many commonalities, other than some things we rolled out recently, Discord and the
Sure.
Scorekeeper app and things like that. And,
Your wife being lazy and just waving a device at you and saying, please help me.
yeah. There's some administrative stuff that
Yeah.
I think the IT side of things has helped me with.
Okay, actually, I don't know what you just said that totally triggered this. A previous question is familiar with APA beforehand, and what would you want to improve it? I think that I was previously reflecting on what would I improve about the APA format. Actually, I want to answer that question is what can I improve for the league operators and their processes and systems is the technology.
Yeah.
I think National's doing a great job. They're rolling out Scorekeeper app this year nationally. Most all league areas are getting on board with that. It's been in development. The development team's doing a great job at receiving constructive feedback in order to be able to make those constant improvements.
Yep.
I think on the business aspect of it, we have some great and very well tenured league operators whose years of experience have certainly helped us.
Yeah.
There's so many league operators that we can go and call and be like, oh shit. And they're going to be like, here's how I've handled it in the past. Here's what did work, what hasn't worked, and in between.
Right.
And then you decide now with that information what you want to do for you and your business. Right. I think APA as a whole, and again, it's fragmented because it's all league operators in all areas, all franchise owners have the autonomy, whether how much technology they want to implement or not, beyond the fundamentals of, you need to use Scorekeeper because high-level tournaments are going to use that. Yeah, you need to use our proprietary customer service programming and software for management. But beyond that, it's open, right?
Yeah.
Being able to integrate like social media platforms, a better customer service, like lead source generation platforms that can integrate into our management platforms.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things that I would love to see. I think there's a handful of league operators that are really good at like innovating processes with the tools that are up and coming, testing out certain tools and be like, this is great, scratch that, that's not that great, this is better, you know. But it's up to us as individual league operators to like see what other people are doing and doing well and saying, I also want to implement that and help contribute to like a standard operating to elevate processes, right?
Yeah.
Like I say, new player recruitment, lead source generation, social media management, getting homogenous messages out there on a national level without relying on national office to create and provide that content for us constantly.
Yeah.
So I would guess if there's anything we could improve, it's just like getting all the league operators caught up to technological advances because they're coming around the corner so fast, especially with AI and stuff coming around the corner. And being able to provide that. So, all right.
And that's also not to besmirch anything that other league operators are
100%.
doing. They've been doing it. They know what they're doing. But I feel like where we are is we can do it that way, but we see the flaws in that way, and we are unwilling to just keep working with the squeaky wheel instead of applying the grease to it. You know what I'm saying?
The flaws are kind of a small segment. The bigger segment, consumership changes.
Sure.
Again, the third space is kind of dying off. So, like, what can we do different, better, or more, even utilizing technology to either elevate a third space, support third spaces before they're totally extinct, and to, elevate the value of having that third space in people's lives and people's communities.
Yeah.
I think, again, consumership changes how they perceive value of their time, treasure and experiences, and why is APA that resource for them. If we just kind of keep doing what we were doing with player recruitment, it's only going to get us so far, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. What question were we on?
I don't know. We've been jumping around.
Oh, what part of your previous career has helped you in becoming a league operator? So I did talk a little bit about like my experience with the funeral home on like the marketing and development side and how that really kind of shaped my ability to do like better research as an entrepreneur. But more so just like dealing with families in obviously a very highly stressful, highly emotional chapter of their life that just about every person is going to go through. What I've gleaned from that is being able to help people write their stories.
Yeah.
You know, taking little elements of their life, their favorite things, their favorite food, their favorite hobbies, their favorite experiences, and being able to help draft that story. Recognizing the uniqueness and individuality. So when you talk about building a culture, that's inclusiveness, the whole everybody can play, anyone can win.
Yeah.
Finding opportunities to get to know people very quickly even sometimes and being like, okay, I know this personality is going to fit with this team, or this team's going to be a little hodgepodgey. Are they blending well enough to, you know, maybe I need to pull them apart and like reshuffle the deck a little per se and get them in with other people and other teams. So those soft skills that I learned as a funeral director to like very quickly ask the right questions or be empathetic enough and kind of like lean into body language and verbal cues and all of that stuff to be like, is this a fit? Is this a not? What is unique about this individual? How can I draw that out of them and put that into this scenario while making them feel like they're kind of also the one doing it. And it's true. Like they're contributing a lot independently, but I'm just taking the cues that they're leaving me and weaving it all together and like putting them into, you're not just a pool player now. You're, you know, Joe Schmo, the beginner pool player who loves to joke and heckle and have fun, but still be sportsmanly about it. You know, I want to make sure that they're also with the right people. Or
absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are some of the experiences that I've had. Anything else? I think just
not from my side.
Right. I think just in general, it's everything that you've experienced throughout life. If you're not using those things that shaped you into who you are and applying that and how to be a league operator, I think you're kind of just like missing the point.
Sure.
So anyway, next question is, do you think being a transplant to Milwaukee helped or hurt your efforts in the early stages?
Hurt.
I think both.
I mean, I only say hurt because it's like, we just don't know anything.
Right.
Like,
but I think that also helped too, because we can come in with like a fresh lens to Milwaukee.
Sure.
This long-standing, multi-generation. You have a lot of blue-collar workers here. You have a lot of multi-generation families here still in an era where a lot of major metropolitan eras had maybe a generation of like boomers and Xers and some early millennials, but a lot of millennials and Xers had kind of gotten up and left and have gone across the country like we did.
Yeah.
There was still like a good segment of Milwaukee that it was like, my grandpa worked at this and my dad stayed in Cudahy, and even though I moved to Franklin, we're all still Milwaukeeans. You know what I mean? Like it's multi-generation Milwaukee, and there's a lot of rich history here, but we can kind of, like I say, come in with a fresh lens.
Yeah, a lot of stagnation.
Yeah, see the excitement that it all has to offer and say, hey, this is something that we want to inject to elevate everything, not to inject and change everything or like wipe everything away.
Well, and I feel like one thing I always think of, and it sort of still gets under my skin, is like, you know, we're making these early pushes at one of our host locations, and we're hanging up flyers around the place, and I go to the bathroom, and granted, we're in like the first 4 or 5 months that we've been doing this. Nobody knows who we are.
Right.
Nobody knows specifically who I am, so I'm in the bathroom and I'm hanging up signs or whatever, and then I hear somebody go, APA. And I'm like, and then this guy starts literally talking smack to me
about APA
while I have the flyers in my. He doesn't recognize that I have flyers in my hand, and I'm like, He's like, oh, well, you know, he's trying to be all nice about it.
Fast.
Yeah.
Or what about the guy at that one of those first tournaments we went and hung out at, and he pretty much gave us like the fuck APA talk, and I just kind of sat back and I was like, tell me about your experience with APA, and I think that's when I realized too, like the pool scene in Milwaukee or even greater Wisconsin was kind of like ruthless and cutthroat at times. Like their culture is based on like brashness. I don't know. Like I don't feel like I'm describing that very well and not giving credit to all of the players in greater Wisconsin that doesn't play APA that are really genuinely good people.
Yeah.
But I think everybody would like kind of always like the players kind of come at you hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So
they got
fuck
an edge.
APA. And I'm like, okay, well tell me about your experience. And it turns out really he was like the words he was looking for were, I've outgrown APA.
Yeah.
I'm such an advanced, skilled player that APA has no place for me anymore. Well, but through dialogue, we were able to really kind of find a common place to be like, well, maybe someday you'll find yourself being a really good teacher. Yeah. Like I talked about before, helping that next generation.
Well, APA says it themselves. Amateurs only.
Right, it's a beginner-friendly amateur pool league.
We do not have professionals.
If you're looking to go pro, we're not your avenue. But we're a great place for you to start.
Absolutely. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was... Oh, man.
It's like, what crawled up your butt and just,
I think, yes. I think, again, it hurt because there were so many unknowns and so many things we had to adapt to so quickly, all while transplanting our kids, being good parents, trying to help them transition, making the transition ourselves,
and just
getting
also
settled into the community.
Well, in approaching this from a pure place, right, where it's like, all we want to do is just bring something fun.
Right.
All we want to do is just bring community and joy and happiness and all that stuff to Milwaukee, right? And to have that just like shut down without like even getting to know us at all.
Keeping up our positive morale when people were like, screw you. We're like, hey guys, I brought my ball, y'all want to play? Fuck you. And I'm like, okay, I'll take my ball and go home now. Like that.
Like we're not even getting picked last.
Right.
Like, we're just not getting picked at all.
Get off the playground, Four Eyes. Okay. Yeah, it was hard. It was demoralizing. So then, I mean, we kind of learned even in those first 6 months, like, the existing pool community is not our people.
Yeah.
We have to find our people. So not only are we starting from scratch,
then
we had to take the from scratch part, throw the ingredients out the window,
right,
and like find a whole new recipe to make this work, right?
Right.
So just kind of talking to people about like try a new hobby, find some more work-life balance, find a new date night.
Yeah.
Those were kind of starting the narratives that we were bringing to the table when we were discussing with people too.
Well, and we really, I mean, Stephanie specifically leveraged a lot of her networking early on.
Again, another being a transplant to Milwaukee, leaving behind the network of support that we had built over 13 years in Kansas City and coming here and just being dry and really only having each other.
Right.
That was hard. And like trying to build that network and weeding out the people who were just not going to be good for the network for the long standing.
Right.
That was kind of painful at the beginning too. Yeah. But, we persevered. We have a lot of great keepers that have been there with us since day one. Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee. And a couple others. Patrick. Yeah. Not just people like professional networks, but players too.
Yeah.
You're the real OG, man.
Tim.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about people like even in the professional networking circles.
Oh, yeah.
Those people. But yeah, I mean the OG players for real. Again. Yeah. And can we talk about Tim being an OG player and being one of the first players to go to Milwaukee for us? I'm just saying. Cool. We'll pause that thought for later. So hurt. Yes, lots of hurt. But like I say, helped too because we didn't have to come in with any kind of clouded judgment. Yeah. We just had to experience it raw. Raw dog Milwaukee for a little while.
Well, and I think jumping into it and not having those preconceived notions or the predetermined outcomes, like we're not going to accept what you're going to make pool to be in Milwaukee. Right. Like we are here to fundamentally shift it.
Make it
friendly and make it, you know.
And maybe that's not for you, and maybe it's for a version of you you'd like to evolve to.
Yeah.
Anyway, next question.
10.
How would you describe the APA community you're building, and what's the vibe you're curating?
I feel like, well, the summer's always sort of hard to think about because you just lose so many people. But big picture.
Big picture.
Big picture. I really, really like our community a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have a whole lot of really excited people who have really found their footing as captains and leaders in our community.
That I think in the beginning were like, I never in a day would I ever think about being a captain or a coach or anything.
Yeah.
And they just like gravitated to it over the time.
Yeah. And I like, you know, I like when I'm explaining APA to somebody else and then a player just jumps in and goes, oh yeah, and then this and this and this. And it's like,
okay, so we have a new player on Wednesday nights, and this is like week 3 for them this last week. And I had brought an additional new player. This would be their first week out of the 3. And so I'm trying to explain something. They had a great question, and this player like leapt over me. I was like, okay, you take over. I'll just sit back here and look pretty. But they were so exuberant. And they had done their homework. Like, they were giving great answers. So I was just like...
And I love that. It's refreshing to get to experience that. You know?
And a relief.
And relief.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think we've talked a lot about, like, the vibe that we're curating this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've already really been answering that. It's just a continuous mantra. It is such a theme to everything that we do. We don't have to explain it anymore.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, you better come visit so you can figure it out. How do you keep players feeling seen, included, and invested in something bigger than just bar league pool?
I feel like that's the hard part, right? Mm-hmm. Because everybody feels things differently, right? Mm-hmm. And they need certain, we talk about love languages, right? But like, how do people feel seen? Do they feel seen through the acts of service? Do they feel seen through just like, compliments or, whatever? And I feel like it's a little bit of everything. You sort of just toss stuff at people and see what they respond to the best.
And for us, the challenge of like recognizing the uniqueness of each person while also trying to take what feeds them and draw them back into like the same keystones so that there's like the standardization. And I think too, as we're kind of scaling up and up, recognizing when we need to like continuously pass the torch and trust other players to weave and build to the same standard and expectations as we are weaving and building, right? The good sportsmanship, the camaraderie. It's not just like, what are you saying across the table after a good shot? Is how are you priming the pump? How are you building the hype? How are you celebrating people the next day so they still feel it? It's something that's lingering for them.
Right.
The constant communication, not just the last minute stuff where you show up and you hope people are going to also show up. You know, it's again, kind of reteaching people social skills and cues that I think are starting to die off or are not as obvious to like older generations.
Sure.
Being kind of like a Gen X millennial cusp. Like, it's really obvious to, like, hype someone up or, like, hey, remember that time or whatever. But I think younger generations are, stuck on social media trends and videos and, sharing memes and jokes and stuff as kind of that way to commune. Where I'm like, let's get personal. Let's ask the deep question. Not deep, but, like, we don't have to go Dr. Phil. But, how's your mama? How was the funeral? Like, those kinds of things that people, I think, forget. We're all real people having a real human experience, and we can ask each other about them, not just keep things superficial.
And we're invested in each other as a community.
Correct. After so many weeks, you're not just my player on my team, you're my teammate, you're my friend, and you're somebody that I care about.
Yeah.
How do you express that? And how do you do that in a way that is comfortable for everybody? So, that's part of the community and the vibe that we're building, how to help players feel seen while not bearing the weight of that responsibility for every individual player, but like setting the example and like igniting that inspiration in others to turn around and do that for someone else within our community.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too is getting people not so much invested in the pool, invested in each other, right?
Correct.
And once I think we can get people invested in each other, then they will show up for each other.
Yeah. What are some core values or mantras you lead your franchise with?
Beard?
We lead with the beard.
No.
My daily mantra. What the fuck? You know what though? Joking aside, there's definitely so many moments where I'm tested, and I want to lose my patience or maybe go off or whatever, and I realize like I just kind of have to sit back and be like, okay, that player keeps coming to me with this. Is it really about this, or is there something else going on? And circling back into investing in them and making them feel supported.
Right.
Is it really about you think people are not skilled or rated correctly, or are they just feeling a lack of confidence in leaving their team better?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, the what the fuck mantra is definitely like led to more insightfulness and maybe trying to dig a little deeper with people who are big pains in the ass. And trying to meet them where they're at, you know, and give them opportunity to rise above the pain in the ass moments.
Right.
Or we self-weed. You know what I mean? Like, I think we've had some pretty decent luck with when we lean into players like that. And if they want to elevate, they do. If they don't, they get the hell out of Dodge. And our community's kind of all the better for it, too.
Yeah.
You know? So, meh. Mantra, everybody. Everybody and anybody, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can play. Anyone can win.
Yep.
You belong. There's a place here for you as long as you carve your way in that and you invest in it with equity, just like everybody else is leading into it.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Good answer. Good answer. Where is your franchise now in terms of players, divisions, host venues compared to when you started? Well, we started from the bottom. Now we're up. I don't know. What's the phrase now? Now we here? Now
we're here. Now we're here. We started from just the
0.
one Monday, right? Well, we bought the franchise, obviously, 0. No divisions, no players. There were like a dozen or so like contacts. Somebody did try to make Milwaukee APA a thing.
I think they lasted 6 months.
A very, very small thing. Even smaller than what we're working with. There were no plays. There was no league play, no players with skill levels, none of that. We did have some like remnant player files and stuff like that. Some remnant host locations.
It was junk though.
A lot that had shut down. Yeah. So there was pretty much nothing.
Like from scratch. Big S from scratch.
And so we got our first division started January 2023, and we are currently up to what we got.
Well, at this spring session, we got up to 38 teams, and that was like a huge boost. We went from like 18 teams to 38 teams, and that was a magnanimous swing.
Yeah,
and I think we also learned a lot from that experience too, to be like, okay, what does scalability look like, and make it make sense.
Right.
And building bench strength in the players that we do have, so when we have our next big burst, we can call on some of that talent to help supplement the time and talent that we need to invest in it, and drawing on their time and talent to invest in it as well.
Yeah, so, and I think something we learned too in the spring session is like not to put all your eggs in one basket.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
And just sort of spreading out a little bit and and putting faith in our host locations to be able to lift us higher and to elevate our league.
And don't put up with no baloney.
Right.
Don't put up with the baloney.
Right.
Well, and I think too is like, oh, man, I think we just tried a little too long with that one host location.
Yeah.
To be like, one of these days they're gonna see what we're doing for them. Like, we're literally your full-time marketer, and you don't have to pay us a salary. You literally just have to have open, honest, two-way communication with us.
Right.
You have to have a willingness for collaboration, and you have to have like a positive attitude and just be respectful.
And you got to be willing to accept our players as your customers.
Correct. Again, back to that collaboration pillar, right?
Yep.
And when you screw the pooch on 3 out of 4 of those, and then finally on the 4th one...
Yep. I think we're better for it, though.
No,
and
not without some PTSD, too.
Oh,
so I
100%.
think we're kind of relearning, like,
100%.
what trust looks like amongst us and other professionals.
But I think once we made that change, and we started investing in locations that actually cared about our league, we saw all that growth.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, and yep. Live and learn.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. I need therapy. So, what goals do you have for the next 1 to 3 years? Kick ass, take names.
That's basically it.
Basically it.
Yeah, I would like... Well, our goal for our next year is 9-ball. And getting our 9-ball numbers up enough where we can qualify a team for Vegas for 9-ball. At least one.
And it sounds like we're going to be gifted without earning some like unearned showdown slots. So I'm excited to see what we can get out of that from National. Yep. Thank you, National.
Thank you, National.
And, provide that avenue where we didn't really have it before. So like when we're starting from scratch and we're like, hey, come play with us. And we're not sure when we're going to be able to go to Vegas, but we hope you'll stick through it until we get there. Saying like, hey, we have a spot for you in Vegas. Let's dabble in Jack and Jill. Let's dabble in team captains, like those kinds of things and set a stage for that.
Yeah.
Grateful that we can have a little bit of a springboard instead of just like trying to take a running jump off a cliff. So
right. Well, and it's like, we're trickling out these little pieces. Like we're getting ready to send somebody to Vegas, and like now those people who are going to go to Vegas get to come back and like tell everybody else about how crazy awesome Vegas is.
Doing a regional tournament instead of just a Vegas tournament with Midwest
really
Challenge in Kansas City.
As well,
yes. So gonna implement an MVP tournament here in a minute to recognize the people who have come strides with their MVP talents. Yep. So goals I have for the next 1 to 3 years, just like taking the things we don't have experience with and I don't want to say overly cautious, but just implementing them really well instead of just really fast, right?
Yeah.
As much as we want dynamic growth really fast because it would be comfortable and easy and nice and refreshing, we know that I could do 100 things really half-assed or 1 or 2 things really, really well. So like kind of tempering the pace of things to make sure they're done really well.
I think we're getting to a point too where we tried to do things like division rep programs and stuff early on, where it just wasn't necessary, right? But as we grow and as we get bigger and as we are, we have multiple divisions on Monday nights and,
I think the theory behind implementing division reps early was valid.
Sure.
I think we just did not have the right talent of people to provide those roles.
I would agree.
Yeah. Another goal, I think, in the next 1 to 3 years is just recognizing, like we said, summers was really slow in Wisconsin. Utilizing the localized festivals as a lead source generation. Being in those outside places and helping people prepare for the indoor spaces, like the fall and the spring times, where they're looking for recreational activities. Just kind of, I think we had a lot of success in, like, some of the Tosa Fest last summer. Kind of missing those opportunities this summer as we're, again, kind of pushing things off the plate so we can focus on the 1 or 2 things really, really well. We want our first experience in Worlds to be great. Yeah. Because not only is it first for us, but then to get from National, hey, this is the first time Milwaukee is being represented there in the history of APA, is setting like a huge precedent. So now the pressure is really on. I'm okay with not doing festivals and lead source generation on that avenue right now, because I know I have other avenues for lead source generation coming down the pipeline. I just want to focus on doing Worlds and implementing that really, really well. So festivals next year, just like every weekend, being in a different place, getting some volunteers from the pool community really kind of share their story and being able to give them a spotlight to highlight what they enjoy.
And I think I want to say around 3 years from now, my goal is for there to be no real decipherable difference when going from spring to summer. Like, I feel like it's still possible.
Yeah.
I feel like if we can get the right people invested in our community, that we can, they can sort of drill into our community of like players and cultivate that, even if those teams need to change during the summer, because
you still have room for vacation and playing pool. You still have room for outdoor things and playing pool.
Yeah.
It's not a this or that. It's a you can have both.
Yeah.
You can keep your community of support and friends and people all while still doing the fun things. And we'll miss you this week.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to hear all the fun things you've done last week, the next week. Yeah. Right? I agree. I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Are there any major obstacles you're still facing, and how do you plan to overcome them? Yes.
Major obstacles. Well.
And with alcohol.
The sunshine. I love it and I hate it. It's. I feel like it's just a recency bias.
Yeah.
For this question, because the obstacle is the summertime, and I love the summertime, and I'm a big proponent for the summertime because I'm a summer baby. I love the warmth, but there's no denying it is an obstacle that we have to deal with.
Right.
And we are making strides and steps, and we're adding on to our host locations, and more to come soon.
And
right?
I look forward to the time for the summer session providing value-added experiences for active summer participants only. Things that you're only going to get during a summer session. Whether that's during the league night or because you're an active member of value-added bonus experience because you're currently an active member. So those are the things we're kind of drafting and wanting to implement in the future.
Yeah.
Big ambiguous tease there. You're welcome. Personal reflection. Let's kind of try to wrap this up quick. I don't even know how long we've been yapping for. God bless you if you're still here. What do people not understand about being a league operator that you wish they knew?
I feel like a lot of people playing in the league are just so focused on playing in the league that they don't recognize what we do as being a business.
Yes.
They think we're just hobbyists, that we're doing this out of the pureness of our heart.
Right.
And part of it is.
Yeah.
We do care about
right now,
you.
especially when we're not collecting a paycheck. Lots of goodness from my heart.
But,
all the goodness. Almost gone the goodness.
Yeah.
From my heart.
But I feel like that's one thing that I think people know that in the back of their head. They're like,
but it's not a conscious thought.
But it's not an ever-present one either. And so, like, a lot of times people will get in the middle of their game and they'll get frustrated and they'll forget about they'll forget that, like, we're not the bad guy, you know? And so
tempering your pessimism for us a little bit. I mean, we love constructive criticism. We love when you bring questions to the table. And even if we don't know it in the moment or don't have the answer that you're expecting in the moment, it's not because we're trying to be malicious to you. It's just that we believe in the standards of what APA has for their structure, for their rules, how they evaluate skills, all of those kinds of things. And even if it's a sucky moment for you right now, it will get better. And we are actively working behind the scenes to encourage the betterment for you.
Absolutely.
We are asking for your optimism. We're asking for your patience. We're asking for your respect. And, I don't do this for the Kool-Aid and the accolades and any of the other aids. But it is kind of nice every once in a while and really kind of floats me high when somebody's like, you know what? I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing. I see you. I had a player in a downtown division witness a couple of players during playoffs last session kind of get pretty salty with me. And you keep your chin up. You handle it with professionalism. You keep them optimistic. You provide them with very optimistic answers and solutions. And even when they're still salty, having that player who wasn't even involved just be like, you didn't need to deal with that. I really appreciate what you do. I understand that they were just frustrating. Don't let it get you down. I'm like, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
That's for all the salty comments that I had to just deal with. That was worth every ounce of it. So.
Yeah. Well, and even something as small, like the other day I was doing score sheets and there was a comment in the box and it said, "Love you guys."
Aww.
And I was like, that's it. Like, we don't need a whole lot, it's just like these little moments,
It is. And yeah, you're right. Not a lot, but a little bit just to kind of keep our mojo going. That really helps. So, how has this work changed you personally? I used to be a Steven. Just kidding.
No.
Can you tell we're tired?
No, she wasn't.
I think it hasn't really changed me so much as it's elevated all the best parts of what I've wanted to be as a person, as somebody who's contributing to my local community, as to somebody who's creating a niche community. This has provided me a platform to let all the other bullshit of like adulting and responsibilities kind of fall by the wayside. Not without some of the responsibilities we still have to take care of.
Right.
But really just like elevate and highlight the best parts of my skills and offering them to people so that they can have an elevated and better experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this work has changed me pretty immensely, I would say. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm still a work in progress, but I've never been into sales, you know? And unfortunately, a part of being a league operator is selling your brand, right?
Yeah.
And selling what services you provide, right?
Selling the experience.
And so I've had a hard time, and I'm still having a hard time, and I'm working through how that process works, how it needs to look, and I'm getting there slowly but surely, I feel.
I would agree. I mean, I think that's something that takes a lot of courage and strength to do, especially at our age. I mean, nearing 40. That
You said it. Why'd you say it?
It's hard to make change, you know, to like, I mean, I think I had a few friends back in KC that were like, you're being lunatic for just scooping everybody up and moving 2 states away and trying to start off on this endeavor.
Yeah.
A lot of courage and a lot of strength to be insightful, to know what you do well, maybe what you don't do well, so that you can bring in the talent and the time of people who can supplement the things maybe we are not great at.
Yeah.
Finding ways to sharpen our saw a little bit.
Yeah.
Provide our own self-growth, because we don't have bosses that are going to do that for us. That's the school of hard knocks at this point. And a humble approach to be like, okay, that sucked. That didn't work. Or I really knocked my head against the ceiling on that one. Tomorrow, what can I do different, better, or more? Not just to avoid that, but to grow from this recent experience too.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, yeah, if there's anything that's changed in me, I think it's just embracing those, you know, not sitting in the comfort of like, oh, fuck it, I messed up. You know, the embarrassment will ride off eventually, and then my boss will be happy with me again soon, you know?
Right.
I am my boss. If I want to be happy with myself soon, I better pick my own butt back up and get at it, you know?
Right.
Learn from this experience, stop with the negative self-talk, mature a little bit and wising up there and just kind of putting my best face forward, you know?
Yeah.
Pleasing myself and being satisfied with my own work, you know? Leaning into that.
And I feel like, you know, the question also does say personally. How has this work changed me personally? I don't feel like personally I've changed.
Yeah.
I'm still the same dude.
Right.
It's just honing in on those specific skills that I've never utilized or put value into because I didn't need to. In IT, you know, I didn't have to sell anything. I was just the fixer, right? Yeah. And so it's something I've had to work through, and I feel like, you know, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere.
We're almost done, everybody.
Last one. God bless. If someone reading this is thinking about starting their own franchise, what would you say to them?
I would say, why are you doing it? And not like facetious, right? Like,
run, go away, Dad. What are you thinking? You're crazy. Don't do it.
No, like,
why?
What's the reason? But like, why? What are you hoping to get from it?
What's your motivation behind this decision?
Yeah.
You know, are you just wanting to be another great pool player in the room, and you're trying to create your own little menagerie of people who want to follow you as an awesome pool player?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to create something collaboratively with people?
Yeah. Because I mean that is what APA is.
That is. That's exactly it.
And if you don't sort of accept that from the get-go,
Yeah,
then
you're no longer a pool player.
Yeah.
You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur.
Yep.
You're a marketer. You're a business developer. You're a financial advisor. You're a financial steward. You're a tax man.
Yep.
You're a disciplinarian. You're an enforcer. I don't know how many other freaking hats do we wear at this point. My head is heavy. My neck
We're
hurts.
a travel agent.
Event coordinator, intermediary, host location advisor,
Yep.
counselor,
Counselor,
therapist.
I want to see here. I did have a couple that generated specifically about, because we haven't talked about Las Vegas yet.
Okay.
So we'll read these. If you want to veto, just say and we'll move on.
We'll figure it out.
So this is about the World Pool Championships in Las Vegas. How does it feel to have your first Milwaukee team represent your franchise on the world stage?
Awesome. About damn time.
Yeah, I'm really excited to, I have no, of course, everybody's got I really want the Cinderella story with,
Sure.
Milwaukee
First time
come in,
Milwaukee,
and,
even top 10.
God, it would be incredible. But
we would
realist
have to quit
in me,
and get rid of the thing because I'd be like, we can't peak after that.
the realist in me goes, what I really just want is a positive experience for our players.
Right. We've already got the cake, right?
Right.
Like, this is, being there in Worlds is just icing now.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. And I'm really going to be excited once we're able to send people out in different times of the year for, the showdown series and stuff like that, too.
Agreed.
I
Get
think,
some heavy hitters into U.S. Amateur and stuff, too. It'd be pretty
I am looking forward to, because I do recognize that a lot of Milwaukee people like their doubles. And certainly, they've been stuck in their ways for a long time.
Yeah.
But once we are able to offer that, I am excited to see if there's any overflow from that.
But we've developed a culture now.
We have.
And if you're going to be a party pooper,
everybody has a
no
pooper.
place for that pooper here.
Yeah. Number 13. What does this trip mean to your players and to you personally? Well, I can't speak about our players, but I feel like we
just answered that. Yeah, okay. Skip.
What are you most excited for your players to experience in Vegas?
The vastness.
Yeah.
I think just one, recognizing like you're among people. You're among your people.
Yeah.
And they're just like you. And I think it's easy to, especially here in Milwaukee when we're so new, and it's kind of like just a very baby little infant league area. These people have been doing it for so many years, and there'll be a couple of teams that have been to Vegas more than once. But most every other team there, from what I hear, it's like it's their first time, just like you.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the greenness for them to go and experiencing that.
Yeah, it's brand new.
My hope is that there'll be some childlike wonder and joy that they get to experience that, and being pool mom and dad to be able to be like, ooh, look what they're doing.
Well, and just encouraging them to, hey, post about it.
Yeah.
While you're out here.
Yep.
Not while you're shooting pool, but while you're out here,
Yeah.
Let's see here. How do you think this achievement will inspire other teams in Milwaukee?
I think it'll start giving people a little more motivation and gusto to be like, okay, now I really can have something more tangible to work towards.
That was the word I was thinking, tangible. Yeah. Yeah, because we just been dropping this
ambiguous hint. Maybe it'll happen sometime. Hang on, guys.
We're almost there, I promise. Do you have any traditions or rituals planned to send the team off in style?
We haven't made any traditions yet, but I think a Vegas send-off party, for this year, it's just going to look very much like an open house. I think I'm a little worried that maybe this open house is more for me and Zach than it is for the team.
Well, we are going to be wearing our birthday hats.
I
You thought I was going to say suits. We're tired.
It's too morning for this conversation.
We will be clothed.
I think
yes.
Being humble about it.
Yes.
Just like we've been explaining for the last too long, that we have worked really hard. I mean, this is a dream for us to be able to provide this. As much as we're like so proud and so joyful for the team that's going and so grateful for the personalities that are going in that team, we know it's going to be so successful and wonderful. We're kind of throwing our own little celebration here too. And kind of just this once, like, this is our first hurrah and probably our last hurrah that's for us.
Right.
Year 2 on forward is really going to be just so player focused.
Right.
Because that's just part of our job. This will be the one time I think we're allowed to give ourselves permission to be like, we did it.
Well, it's actualization of a dream, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's, moving
our kids was worth it. Disrupting their life was worth it. Disrupting our lives. Going through all that pain that first summer and... the confusion and the doubt and the money stressors and, you know, even any moment hence on forward where we think, what the fuck are we doing? Why did we even do this to begin with? I think this party and this celebration will represent we did do the damn thing.
Yeah.
We got it there. No matter how small or how modest it looks, and sure, we wanted to be bigger, badder, bolder at this juncture, but we still need to celebrate and be proud and mark this moment in time. Like, fucking we did it.
We'll be raising a glass to our players, but also to ourselves.
Right.
You know?
And an appreciation for the Kansas City community that we left behind that still cheers us on.
Oh, yeah.
From long distance. Like, that's for you guys, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I got nose tingles.
Oh, baby. Baby. All right, last one. What advice do you give your team as they prepare for a huge event like this?
Hold on to your butts.
I would say... I don't think there's really any need for concern here, but like Vegas is a party town.
It is.
Don't view Vegas as a party town while you're there to shoot pool.
You are representing us. You are representing Milwaukee in a historic moment. I have a lot of trust in the people that we're sending.
We got a great
and I don't
team.
even feel like it needs to be said.
No.
But if it needs to be said, chin up and put your best face and your best foot forward and your best representation forward. Even if you have to fake it till you make it, or maybe take away from your expectations of your vacation a little bit, just to temper it to meet our expectations of like good sportsmanship, showing up, showing out, being just the best Milwaukee representation, as a lot of eyes are on us, especially from like exec teams and stuff like that. Like, are Zach and Stephanie doing it? Are they setting good precedents? Are we being good examples? You're it. You're the first. You're the first impression along with us. We know it's a huge undertaking. We can't thank you enough for your willingness to do it. We know you're going to have a lot of fun while you're doing it. We just want to make sure it's appropriate fun.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And what I really want to is for other teams that we come up against to be left with a good impression of Milwaukee.
Win or lose.
You know, like,
Win or
so
lose.
Same thing that we preach during regular weekly league play, you know, cheer for your competition, cheer people on. Of course, there's a little bit of an elevated atmosphere to Vegas.
Yeah, yep.
But you can still have sportsmanship be at the forefront of every single match you play.
And especially when, because from what we hear, it will happen when your opposing teams or other players are not being their best version. Right. It'll be tempting to stoop, right? But when they go low, we go high kind of thing. Yeah. You know, like I say, take it to your best example. That's all we're asking. So. And
that's all I have.
Holy moly.
That was an hour and a half.
That was an hour and a half. And I hope it was enjoyable for you as it was for us.
That was fun.
Well, I think we'll just kind of break this down into chunks. Yeah, we'll put chapters to it. That way you guys can skip ahead when things get boring. Yeah. But we're pretty awesome and pretty spunky, so I'm sure it was riveting the whole hour and a half long.
I'm sure that everybody has sat from second 1 to second 1 million. Whatever we are.
Yeah, now's the time where we dump the ring into the mountain at Mordor.
Yep, Mount Doom. We made it. Fuzzy feet and all.
I guess for an appropriate send-off from the bottom of our hearts, it's been a huge journey for us with a lot, like I say, a lot of doubts, a lot of hesitation, a lot of excitement, much to that be tempered with, disappointments and flaws and failures. Yeah. And we're just going to keep striving to do great things for our community. We love the growth that we're seeing. We love the people that are contributing to that community. And we love the fact that it's not really kind of just us anymore. It's all of you guys as well. That means a whole hell of a lot, and not just to us right now, but to all the players in the future who are going to come into this league with the foundation you guys are making with us. So thank you all for all that you do. We really appreciate you. Your time, talent, and effort does not go taken for granted.
Right.
We hope that you enjoyed our story a little bit. If there's anything that you want to ask about our journey, drop them in the comments below.
There you go. I think that's it.
Good night.
Love you guys. I'm going to sleep because I got to be up in 5 hours.
No, let's not talk about that.
Oh, boy. See you guys.
Oh.